Welcome to the Inside97 podcast.
Welcome into another edition of Inside 97. My name is Will, and I'm joined today by our Director of Sales at 97 Display, Steven. How you doing?
Hey, Will, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, absolutely. We obviously have gone through a crazy time these last few months, and we thought, while we start to get in a little bit more normal world, all things considered, what better time than ever to discuss sales strategies? Obviously, there's a lot of stuff still fluctuating in terms of all different unknowns, but it's always a good time to craft the best possible sales solution and way to manage that. So that's what we're going to cover today. And obviously, we want to track where people are in the process, right? That's a huge part of the sales process. I know you wanted to touch on that a little bit today.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say the cool thing that we have as 97 Display as a company is a ton of clients who are specifically looking to impact their local community in the best way possible. So it's really what we preach in our sales coaching program and what I preach to 97 Display sales staff and our onboarding staff and all that stuff is take a true consultative approach as opposed to a sales approach. And one of the huge advantages that 97 Display clients have is they're truly providing a service that's going to impact people for the better. It's not like you're selling snake oil or widgets or anything else out there. You're actually selling a service, whether it's a kids martial arts program, whether it's a weight loss program, whether it's a self-defense program, to be able to helpfully impact your local community to make them better, right? And if you have that passion that comes off of it, typically they're going to latch onto that more than coming up with some sort of crazy sales approach or discount or kind of flashy graphics or anything like that. It's really just coming off very genuine and understanding that what I have to offer is genuinely going to better your life, and that's what you're looking for. And that's a huge advantage that you have over your competitors, definitely. So yeah, I mean, I think just going off of that process, what you were talking about is just tracking things, right? So one of the cool advantages that we have through 97 Display is the ability to be alerted when a new lead comes in through a ton of different avenues, right? We have Instant Connect, which is the phone call. We have Text Connect, which is the automatic text that goes out. We have email notifications. We have text notifications for 97 Display clients. We're about to release an app. So all you have to literally do is pick up your smartphone and you have all that information on the palm of your hands. But one of the things that we really harp on is what is that experience like after they get those initial notifications? And that's where the personalization needs to come across. One of the cool things is we're not dealing with Fortune 500 companies that have massive sales processes. We're typically dealing with either the school owner or the gym owner or like the local business owner who's heavily involved in that process. And you want to come across very genuine, but you also want to track where people are falling off in the process. So I have 4 key metrics that I have everybody track when I'm doing sales coaching or when we're working with 97 Display sales staff and onboarding staff. And those 4 metrics are, did you get in well, I guess there's 5. The leads, which we'll handle. You have a full comprehensive report. Once you work with Will and the onboarding staff, they're going to show you exactly how to do all that. But that's a whole nother conversation. So you got your leads. You also want to track, did you get in contact with that person? After you get in contact with them, you want to track, are they scheduled to come into my facility? Or I use demo as a term because we're a software company, but just a conversation about the services that we offer. Number 4 is, did they show up for that conversation or demo? And number 5 is, did I sign them up as a client, whether it's a trial client or a full-time client? Now, if you have the ability to track all 5 of those metrics, you can diagnose where people are falling off in the sales process stage, and you can adjust your scripting and messaging based on where people are falling off. So I'll give you an example. If you get 10 leads and you get in contact with 8 of them, but only 3 of those people schedule a time to come in and see your facility, now you know that your contact point needs to be adjusted in a way that's enticing for people to come into the facility. So some of the examples that we use in sales coaching are, especially now during COVID, is, hey, thanks for reaching out. Glad we're able to connect. I wanted to show you some of the cleaning procedures that we've done in our school. When can you come in so I can walk you through the process of how we keep everything immaculately clean, right? And at that point, you're building trust to the point where they're like, okay, cool, I do feel comfortable going in there. Let's go ahead and take the next step of scheduling that appointment. So, and we can go through a whole different, like bunch of different stuff based on diagnosis of that problem. And that's where we have our sales coaching that would be happy to talk to anybody about that. But really what you want to do is diagnose those 5 metrics and then understand where people are falling off in those metrics to be able to basically steer your energy in the correct avenue to maximize new clients coming in, because that's how you're going to impact your community, is obviously having more members at your facility.
Yeah, definitely. And through the CRM, you have the ability to create notes in there for that very fact. You can go in there, change their lead status, which can affect different follow-up tools that we have on the back end that will be specific to where they are in that system. So say, for example, like you said, you need to strengthen getting them to come in. You could have a specific lead nurture campaign go to the people that are falling off at that point, whether it's coming in for a trial class or coming in for the cleaning, like you said. Anything like that is a great way to kind of fill those gaps and really kind of bridge what was a problem into, well, now instead of 3 people, you're bringing in 7 people. I mean, it's a drastic difference between them.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, when you're looking at the volume of new members coming in, think about the amount of impact it would have on your business if you went from 3 to 7 in that example. Now, essentially, you're doubling your new member count, and that opens up a total new door of opportunity, right? And just by making small little tweaks, if you look at the numbers kind of going down, so when you're looking at actual numbers, out of 100 people, if you get in contact with 70 of them, that's a pretty high closing percentage. But if you move that up, well, I'm sorry, contact percentage. If you move that up by 5 more percent points, you're looking at a whole 5 people that you have the opportunity to now take them down the sales process, even if that boils down to 1 more new member. Just by that 5% at the front end, it's giving you more opportunity down the pipeline. And what we've noticed is a lot of people in our specific clientele do a really good job of generating new members when they come into the facility, because that's where you thrive, right? That's kind of what I was talking about before, is there's a lot of passion behind what we do as small business owners. If you were looking to just have a 9 to 5 job, you really wouldn't care about the direction of the company, but because it's your child, it's your baby, right? It's something that you built from scratch. So when somebody comes in the door, it's like, the analogy I use is like when you buy a new house and you're showing your friends off your new house. As soon as they come in the door, you're like, look at this room and look at this room. And I just bought this piece of furniture and look at all this stuff, even though I have no more money to pay my mortgage anymore because I spent it all on furniture. That's exactly what people's thought process when you have a new potential member coming into their facility. It's like, I'm so proud of something that I've built with my family and my staff. I can't wait to show it off to you. And that sales process is easy, right? I would argue that once you get them in the door, most small business owners have a very, very high closing percentage. It's just a matter of convincing them to come in the door. And that's where you can really improve by 5% here, 5% here. And it's going to equate to 3, 4, 5, 10 new clients down the road.
And there's definitely on-site things, obviously working in build to kind of tailor to that. Exactly like you said, we've been recommending that people on their site do list what they're doing for COVID-19 protocols, whether it's making a quick 2-minute video of you or your staff going through and taking a few shots of what's going on around the facility while they're cleaning, whether it's just pictures, whether it's text, getting that out there. Because like you said, it's really the one-on-one contact of business owner and member of the community that is what differentiates us from a lot of different marketing companies, right? Because we pride ourselves in that connection and the power that has within those local communities. And if you're able to bridge that gap, make it much more personal, whether it's taking them on a tour or showing them what you're doing to take that next step, that's much more personal than throwing free trials are great. I love a free trial. Everybody loves a free trial, but it's not as personal as, hey, I'd love to show you around. Let me show you what is making us different than the guys down the road. This is what we do, and this is how we operate.
Yeah, exactly that. And think about it just from like a financial standpoint. Free trials are great, but the closing percentage on free trials is much smaller than signing somebody up either paid in full or a paid full membership on a month-to-month basis, depending on whatever contract agreement you have set up at your facility. But now think about if you took the effort at the beginning of putting that COVID protocol on the website, if you put together that video and it convinced that person to actually give you physical money when they sit down and meet you in the facility, now you're maximizing time for your staff as well. It moves away from, well, I got to teach this free trial class, nobody's going to pay attention because it's free, to, well, now I'm getting paid members in constantly because I'm building value right from the beginning. And that's one of the cool, unique things that we have with our onboarding staff and build with you and your team, and even our support staff, is we work with close to 1,000 small businesses, specifically martial arts fitness, that we see these different protocols and we see the different approaches that different schools are taking, whether it's a kickboxing facility, whether it's a personal training facility, whether it's kids martial arts facility, and then even into the minute details of a kids martial arts facility in Florida doing this specific program, whether it's like weapon program or more Taekwondo based. But the cool advantage there is we have these conversations with clients and we see what works and what doesn't work. So I always encourage my clients, and I always encourage our sales staff when we're working through the onboarding process of a new client, to pick the brains of you and your team and our support team, because you guys are the people who have all the knowledge, right? You have these conversations every day. And I mean, I bet that you've been with us for a while now. I doubt before you were with us, you would have so much knowledge on martial arts and fitness classes, but that's
Yeah.
a cool advantage.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I mean, just diving into, because obviously these last 7 months have been bizarre. It's a crazy time, and there's a lot of stuff changing. But I would say that the foundation of what has worked the entire time has continued to work. Is just what can you do from a added value perspective at this point, on top of, hey, COVID protocols, hey, cleaning, these extra steps that in January, probably, I mean, they just weren't needed. It wasn't part of the timing. You didn't need to do that in January, but in certain cases, you may not. People may be okay, some people may be okay, but you're going to be able to get so much more value out of it with those extra items and extra things as a part of your sales process. Especially when you're doubling down and figuring out where your hole is in the process, if you have one, identifying that, filling that, creating added value where there was a deficit, and all of a sudden you've fixed a whole lot of issues that you had. Even despite the time we're in, you fixed it for when we're out of this.
Exactly.
Moving forward.
Exactly. And that's something that, like, I think truly the secret sauce of bettering your sales process is harping on the amount of value that you can bring to the table, right? And I use 97 Display as an example. I've been with 97 Display for 4+ years now. I've done almost every job imaginable in sales, and I've had my hands pretty deep in the marketing department as well, just from cross promoting with people. But one of the things that makes our job so unique and so, in my opinion, it's the best sales job in the world, because I'm not selling people. I'm truly helping people based on how awesome our product is and how awesome our people are. And I think one of the unique advantages that we have is, instead of trying to shove a product that doesn't fit, like a round peg into a square hole, we continue to adapt our platform and our thought process that goes along with the timing of our industries and what software best practices are from like a marketing standpoint. So that's our way of adjusting to provide more value to our clients and potential clients, to encourage them to say, hey, continue to be a client of ours because we're going to adapt with you long term. And I think if you can take that as a school owner or facility owner and say, I'm adapting with you as the world changes. I want your normalcy to be in Steve's gym, right? You've already had this awesome journey, or I've had so many clients have this awesome journey of weight loss, and I want to be that steady Eddie for you. I want you to be that normal client of, when the world's in turmoil and you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, I know I'm going to wake up and go to the gym and get a good workout in, right? And I think if you harp into a lot of those value points, it moves away from selling to consulting and coaching, right? And that's something that we focus on in sales coaching a ton. Is it's not, yes, there's processes we can fix and there's scripting that we can fix and all of the kind of key points of traditional sales coaching, but we really focus on the language patterns behind it and the value that you can bring to the table and the genuine value, right? There's no magic sauce to it. It's portraying the value that you bring to the table in comparison to your competitors and just coming across as genuine. And you're going to win more times than you're going to lose if you do that.
Yeah, definitely. And I know we could talk about this for hours. We could sit here and break it down for hours, but we do, like you mentioned it, we do offer sales coaching where you can sit down one-on-one, chat with somebody, business owner, martial arts, fitness, whatever the business is, and help kind of diagnose some, whether you said it was, scripting, all different sides of sales coaching, you're a great resource for. So if they're interested in sales coaching, how's the best way to get a hold of you?
Yeah. So if anybody is interested in sales coaching, they can reach out directly to whatever Awesome 97 Display employee they're working with at the time. If you don't have a specific name in mind, because I know that some people listening to this might just be having a great experience and haven't had to reach out to us in a while. First of all, I would discourage that, right? That's the opposite of encourage. Is discourage? No, that's not a word.
It is now.
Sure.
One.
Put it in the dictionary. I would encourage everybody to reach out to your account executive at 97 Display to learn about some of the new features we have. We have 2 brand new designs that are, in my opinion, the most innovative in the industry that I've seen so far, as well as a ton of other tools that we're working on, as well as just knowledge of having these conversations that we're talking about. And while you're doing that, if you have sales coaching questions, bring that up, or you can email me directly, and we'll put this in the description of the podcast, but it's just my first name, Stephen with a PH, which is spelled the correct way, Stephen.
Shots fired at anybody with a V.
No friends of the V. No V friends here. At 97display.com. And I would be happy to help out any way that I can. And it's offered free for 97 Display clients. And if you're a non-97 Display client, you just want to have a sales conversation, happy to do that as well and see if I can point you in the right direction and hopefully provide some value.
Awesome. Well, we're definitely going to have to do this again. It's always from the process. It's going to be, it's always evolving. The times are always evolving. So we're definitely going to have you on again. I appreciate it, Stephen.
Yeah. Again, thank you so much. Always here to help and always good to see you. Hopefully we're back in the office soon and we can do this in person next time.
Yeah, absolutely.